Good evening, I'm Zaraganat and welcome to my studio. So tonight, more pyrography, he says, having forgotten again to turn the fan on. So we'll turn the fan on and we'll also drink tea. So my PC tonight, once again rebooted. Well, crashed on boot. Crashed on wake up from sleep actually. Don't know why. That has me worried because if there's something that's really a problem with it, I can't afford to do anything about it. Let's turn this on because I forgot to turn it off last night. So I saw it this morning, I thought, oops. I'm kind of looking at this and thinking, you know what? It's not far off being done. I'm not sure how much more of it I actually want to do. Interesting. Now I kind of realise that the lips aren't particularly visible because I've made them a bit too dark. So all I'll just do is cheat a little bit and make what's above them a bit darker. If I do that, then they will look lighter. Let's have a bit more heat for this. So this is kind of the way you fix mistakes, is by unmistaking it. The mistake is that it's too light, or it's too dark now. The way I unmistake it is by making stuff around it darker, so it looks lighter. As you'll see, well, hopefully you'll see in a minute if the camera shows it. Like that, and now we've got some lips showing. That's a little bit high now. So now we work on some details basically. Largely speaking now, this is relatively complete. What I need to do is tone down all the rest here. Although that's much too bright at the moment. So working over it fairly fast with a fairly cool iron, that way I get very little colour change. Or rather, it takes quite a long time to get a colour change. I've got to go over the same place quite a bit of times to get a colour change. So how does that look? Not bad. I need to do this down the neck here. I believe I mentioned that on the last stream. That doesn't feel right, that's scratching. Okay, so today I've spent the day emptying a house. So I have had a busy day. Quite a long day, but I'm here streaming now, so I get to relax for a little bit, which is rather nice. I need to do something just about this corner of the jaw here. It seems really sort of angular. That's kind of better. And here I am now, kind of wondering whether I ought to do anything else to this. Just this moment in time, I am left with a decision. And that decision is, am I finished? Now this was unexpected. Because at the start of the end of the last stream, I was expecting to do more. And yet I'm looking at this now and thinking, actually, is there much more that I need to do? So, hello, Wolfie, your PC crashed and so did all your recordings. It's taken your disk out, has it? That's not very good. My PC crashed tonight as well, on startup, well, on resume from sleep. It came up with a blue screen, straight from sleep. So I don't actually know if it crashed while sleeping or crashed just before sleep or just after. It claims there's nothing wrong with the disc though, which is worrying to say the least. It's not detecting any disk errors, and yet it's failing on the restore. So how do you lose all your recordings? Has the disk gone completely? Because normally, Crash might normally only take out the recording that you're doing, depending on what format you're doing the recording in. Some recordings will survive a crash because they're not ended properly, and some formats require the file to be properly terminated in order to work. If the files are still there, but it just refuses to display them, you might be able to get some video recovery software which will read the file up until the error and then terminate it properly, if that's what's going on in this particular case. Kind of like why I like to have all my stuff in two places. All the photographs, for example, are on the server, but they're also on an independent disk that I plug in, and when I upload anything to the server, I plug the disk in and upload it to the disk. Can't do that with video software. 3/4 of a terabyte of video does sort of take up a lot of space. It's backed up, but it's not stored in two places. So hopefully you get to recover your recordings. It wouldn't be so good to lose them. I know that's really annoying to happen. So I'm really just kind of fiddling around here with odd details at the moment. As I mentioned, I've got a feeling that this is effectively complete. Well, at least there's something good. You've got some good cheese. I like Eden myself. I don't know if there are other specific cheeses which are considered to be Dutch, but I like Eden. I've tried a smoked variant of it which I liked, but I can't get any more of. I quite like actually lots of cheeses. Danish Blue actually was one that surprised me that I liked. I didn't kind of think I'd like it, but I don't mind it. And similar, before I first tried Brie, or similar soft cheeses, I thought, I'm not going to like this, and yet I do, which surprised me. I haven't really found a cheese I dislike. I think the ones that I don't like as much are when you get things like nuts in cheese or onions. Actually, onions and cheese and onion isn't too bad, but you know, that sort of mix of stuff doesn't often come out quite as nice as it might sound at first. So what would be my favourite cheese? Eden would certainly be one of them. If I was going to sit down with a block of cheese and eat it, Eden would be one of them. Really depends, I guess. If I was having cheese biscuits, I'd probably also want to have the Brie or the Danish Blue, because of the sharp taste. It's something that's a bit different. Quite a few smoked cheeses I like. In fact, I guess really I potentially wouldn't say no to any cheese. One thing that's interesting though. Old cheese. Okay, it grows better with age. Yeah. I was just trying to think. I mean, there's quite a lot of well, I guess I notice there's quite a lot of English cheeses because we're in England, and I guess that sort of brings it more to mind. Whereas I'm sure over there you've got a lot. You'll see a lot more Dutch cheeses than you see English cheeses. There's things like the Cheddar and the Cheshire and the Leicester and Red Leicester, and there's quite a few. Interesting thing I find about cheeses though, and same with chocolate actually, is if you grate it, it tastes better than eating a block of it. Don't know if you ever tried that. Either or thinly sliced cheese will do the same thing, but grated cheese or very thinly sliced cheese, for some reason, always tastes better than a block of cheese that you just take a big bite out of. So air makes cheese taste nicer. Chocolate's the same. If you grate chocolate, it tastes nicer than a block of chocolate. Oh, I think so anyway. I mean, it's a personal opinion, this is. Interestingly, Lady Zara agrees with me as well. If I make sandwiches using cheese, I don't often, but I do like to grate it because of that. Not only does it feel like you get more of it, but it tastes nicer. Dilemma is whether I continue fiddling with this, or whether I just call it done, because I could just call it done. What would you recommend then, Wolfie? I mean, Dutch cheese would be like saying English cheese. There's lots of them. As I say, I only know of one which specifically claims to be Dutch, which is Dutch Edam, even though it's not often made in the Netherlands. So if I was to look out for one, what would I look out for? It looks kind of odd, just the way in which that divides the two. But it just happens to be the way that there's a spotlight coming straight down there. And this is the shadow of the head. But it kind of just looks a little bit odd the way it divides the shirt. That still looks a little bit bright, but it's not bad. Okay. Well, good sir. Good sir. Good. In England there's a cheese called Gouda, and I'm wondering if we talk about the same thing. I don't know whether where it originates or anything, but Gouda cast golden cheese. Okay. Well, I shall keep an eye out, and if I come across it, I will try some. I enjoy trying different cheeses. It's not. I don't have sort of an aversion to doing it. Cheese is something I like eating, so it doesn't make me dream or anything, though. Unfortunately. Well, it may be fortunate or not. Isn't cheese sometimes supposed to give you nightmares? I think, but. And snack bagels, yeah. Don't often get bagels, but although I'm guessing our snack bagels sort of small, not true bagels, so like a biscuit type thing. You just can't stop. Yeah, well, I'm kind of like that. The number of times I've got something like half a pound, let's say half a pound, about a quarter of a kilo of cheese, and a potato peeler, basically a cheese slice, and so it slices the cheese really thin, and I've sort of sat down and and I just keep going and going and going, and after a short period of time, a quarter kilo of cheese has disappeared without any effort whatsoever. I know what I want to do. I want that to be a bit higher. Now, this is where I've got to work a little bit fast because this tool is hot. I don't want to turn it down though. I want it to maintain its heat. What I want to do is just shift the colour up a bit. I want it to be I don't want a straight edge, I just want a rough sort of edge, so I'm just flicking this backwards and forwards. Trying also not to get lines. That looks a bit better. Yeah, that looks a bit... Ah, that's changed. Right. Yeah, it just took me. Okay. Oh, you give me some... Oh, layers. Yeah. Let's have a look at that. Oh, bugle. Oh, okay. It's layers isn't I'm probably mispronouncing it, but that isn't a manufacturer you see a lot of in the UK. Actually, I do see it a lot of in Europe. I see it quite, I see the name around a lot in Europe when we're sort of on holiday, and we quite often do have their crisps. But bugles is something I've not sort of seen before. But yeah, the Lay's crisps. I'm gonna have to make the Mediterranean. I'm sorry, I'm just looking on the page. The Mediterranean olive oil. That's one that Lady Sarah and I both like, and we have those quite a few times when we we go to Greece quite a bit, and those crisps are nice, and have those quite a few times whilst we're over there, but you can't easily get them in the UK, unfortunately. Sensations. Interesting. I'm looking down now. Sensations there. There is a manufacturer. I wonder if it's the same manufacturer, but there is a manufacturer in the UK that uses that word as well to describe crisp sensations. Things like Thai sweet chili, which is listed there. It could well be it is in the UK, but under a different manufacturer's name. I'll have to have a look in the supermarket. I can't remember who it is in the... there's quite a lot of nice looking stuff there. I'm now feeling hungry. Okay. Thank you for that, Wolfie. Well, we'll keep an eye out for them when we're shopping, and we'll see if it'll just. Yeah, we'll keep an eye out when we're out shopping and see if I can see anything like that. And thank you for the recommendation. I'll try them if I can come across anything like it. I'm really looking at this and thinking done. But then we're only 3/4 of an hour into the stream, so I'd have to do something else. And I'm not prepared. I haven't prepared anything to start something else. I'm quite prepared to do something else, I just haven't prepared to be able to do anything else. Nothing that sounds like that. Not that I know of, Wolfie. Drop in Dutch. Of course, it could. It could. Well, I guess it could. If it was here, it could be called something different. But I don't. Nothing that sort of resembles that in terms of words. You know what? I must fiddle around a little bit more with this. Let's lose the dark transition here. You're giving me a lot of links tonight. Oh, licorice. Yeah. Licorice. Yeah, licorice all sorts. Bottom left. Yeah, there's Bassett's are the manufacturer, the famous manufacturer in the UK, and Pontefract cakes, so called because they're made in Pontefract, where they were originated. They're sort of like flat discs of licorice. Yeah, in fact I was having some last night. Indeed. I was eating quite a bit of it, really, because Ladies Hour got a selection pack of we call it licorice, and it's licorice all sorts. It's it's that stuff, but mixed with the candy, like some of those pictures are, in the different colours and things like that. She got a selection pack, and she doesn't actually like the really thick licorice, and I do. This, I don't know. Let's have another look at this. Oh, like a waffle cake. No, we don't generally eat those, and certainly not as whether they're available, I couldn't say, but no, I don't think so. that one you've got to yourself, I think. Are they like a soft biscuit then? Looks a bit like they'd be a soft biscuit. The Scotch eggs in the middle, we have those. In the middle of the pay, sort of a little bit lower down, there's some eggs. And we have those. I've had something like that, which was sort of slightly crumbly, I think, but that was probably over in the States a long time ago. So no, we don't. I wouldn't. I'm saying we don't. I've not seen any in the supermarkets or anything. Not that I do most of the shopping. Ladies Hour does the shopping. Caramel in the middle, and like to put it on your tea. Oh, you mean like literally on so the steam comes up. We get a typical one for the UK with tea, and I'm trying to think of what it is. Sometimes get called hobnobs, but they're quite I've forgotten what they are now, but they're quite a hard biscuit with like a caramel type taste, which you dunk in tea, so they get wet literally, and you've got to be quick about it, because otherwise it gets too wet and the end drops off in your tea, and then that's not as nice. But you make a sandwich out of these with caramel or something in the middle sweet. There, it sounds nice. This stuff, yeah. It's kind of I've been in the roof space of a house today with fiberglass wool insulation, and the little bits of fiberglass get stick in my skin and it irritates. It's kind of amazing what reminds you of, when you're saying when you were a kid you've had these. I can remember a lot of the sweets that we used to get, and some of them started coming back. We used to call them flying saucers, like a rice paper bubble with a sherbet inside, so like a fizzy powder inside. And things like the what we used to call Bassett's sherbet fountains. Again, a tube of sherbet with a licorice stick that's got a hole all the way through it. You use it like a straw. And these sorts of things are sort of coming back into fashion. And I remember things like penny chews, which are now about 10p each. I'm just trying to think of there's kind of lots of these sorts of sweets when you see them now in the shops. They've sort of come back into fashion. You go, I can remember coming out of school, out of my sort of second school. We call that juniors rather than infant school. So about sort of 10, 11, 12 in age, and going to the local shop or the post office, which was just round the corner, which also sold sweets, and you'd be going, I'll have one of those and one of those, and can I have two of those, and things like foam bananas, well, they don't call them, they used to call them cigarettes back then, but they now call them candy sticks, little white candy sticks. They used to have a red end on the end to simulate a cigarette. And you'd be going, and you'd be looking at your pocket money and trying to decide, I've got, do I have two of those and one of those, or do I have one of those and one of those and one of, and there's just so many. Yeah. I mean, it's in some way. I suppose I was a lot more active back then, but kind of like the amount of confections and things that I used to eat. But I guess I was a lot more active than I am these days. But I still really enjoy having sort of just going silly and having crisps and sweets and things. Very, very occasionally I'll do that and just go silly with quite a few of them. So Parma Violets for some reason just came to mind, and refreshers. I'm going to be thinking about sweets all evening now, but just getting a pile of them and just working my way through the pile. So I don't do it very often these days, but it's still sort of an enjoyable thing to do once a year or something like that, or at Christmas. I know we generally speaking, when we come up to Christmas, we'll buy lots of things like the crisps, and all the various sort of things like Twiglets or football. We call them footballs because it's like a ball shape with cheese inside, a wafer type ball shaped thing. Yeah, as many as you could. In the UK, we used to have a chain of shops called Woolworths. And in Woolworths, they always used to be what they call a pick and mix, which was a great big shelf unit, maybe sort of 40 or 50 bins or baskets of different sweets. And what you'd be able to do is you get a bag, and you could basically choose anything that you wanted, and you paid by the weight of the bag. And it's kind of surprising how quickly that adds up. But you could get all the sorts of things. You could have one of that and two of that, and get it into the bag. Then you'd buy it by weight. So it quite often would come to 1 or 2 pounds in weight quite easily before you suddenly thought, this is getting a bit pricey, because it wasn't very cheap then. But it was fun doing that. No, I wouldn't. You're right, but well, yeah, no. I mean, we call things different things. I mean, even Snickers bars, for example, in the UK used to be called Marathon. On the continent, and I'm assuming in the Netherlands as well, used to be called Snickers. In the UK, Marathon, and it's kind of like, don't know why, but and then in the UK. They changed the name, so and all sorts of stuff like that. It's just the same thing without sort of having just local names for things. I'm calling that done, I think. I'm going to do a little. I said calling it done, and then going in to do a little bit more. That's fine. That's better. That's the bit that was missing, just there. Okay, right, now I'm calling that done. So what do we do now? I guess the only thing I've got available to do at the moment, because that I think is done. Anything more, I'm going to start messing it up, and I think that's quite nice. I might study it a little bit more and think about it, because this side of the face is on screen. You don't see the shadow on screen as much as I do here. Now the only thing is, and that I have found with experience, and that is when I look at it on the screen that you're seeing, it is a similar sort of look as if I go and stand at the other side of the room, and usually, therefore, what I'm seeing it close up is not what you actually see when you look at it, when you walk past it or anything like that, and what's on the screen is. But this time I don't trust the screen quite so much. I still like what I see on the screen. On the screen this looks too light down this side, but if I darken it down here it's going to look too dark in person, so I'm going to live with that, I think, for a couple of days before I finally sign off the commission, but for the moment I think that's done. Yeah, it's odd the way cameras look at something slightly different. You might find the same thing if you put your picture, put it up somewhere so you can see it, and stand about 6 feet back. So you take your drawing, put it, lean it up against a computer screen or something. Stand about 6 feet back and take a look at it, and you probably find it looks different, and it looks more like you're seeing your photograph. For some reason, cameras have a different view of something. I don't know if it's the way they see, because camera film, or in this case a sensor, can see things more like into the infrared, into the ultraviolet, and then they translate that sort of down a little bit. And I'm kind of wondering whether sort of the cameras are just seeing something outside of the range of human, but human eyes would normally see. But I quite often will stand back, and I'll stand back and look at that, and it looks good close, but on my others I'll stand back and look. It looks okay further away, and as I come up to it I go, nah, that's not as good, but this one's not bad, it's the other way. But yes, we're leaving that. So what I'm going to do is so that's that commission potentially done. I'll study it for a couple of days before I sign off on that, and then that can be dispatched. In the meantime, I think the only thing I've got to hand to do is to do some more magic dots. It's the only thing that's laying around. And do some more of this. There may be another pyrography I want to. There's another thing I do want to do, and that is some beadwork if I've got the right beads, but I'm not sure I've got those to hand. I don't want to start that. Stream of God magic, yeah. So there's a bracelet to do, which is in beadwork. So it's a flat bracelet. But I've got to do the design work for that. It's going to be the intent or the request is to have black pussycats on the band with some sort of background colour. So sort of. Like a sitting cat or a stretching cat or a pouncing cat around the band. But I've got to do the design work for that, for the pattern layout for that before I can even start that, and then I've got to check in whether I've got the beads to do that. So I can't start that one just yet. I'm not really wanting to I don't really want to play about with the niobium rings. In fact, there's not enough here. Yeah, I was a little while ago. Somebody recommended a weave to try these out with, and it actually looked like a nice weave. But it was kind of a double half Persian, and I'm not sure I've got enough rings to do it. What I might just do is do something like a half Persian with this. But again, that's not one I don't think for tonight. I'm still kind of thinking what might be good for that, because they're a nice colour, these niobium rings. They're not quite the same as the titanium, are a dull. No, dull's the wrong word. A matte finish. I always think they look dusty, but they're not. That titanium's a matte finish. These are a similar colour, but they are shiny. Niobium, and I don't actually know which is the strongest of those two, but they're a thicker ring anyway, so they'll feel different. Do I want to hear a fun joke? As long as it's an okay joke, shall we say? By all means. Let's hear it. I will just disappear off camera a moment whilst I change the stream title. There we go. Right, that's the stream title updated. So what we got here? What's the difference between you in basketball and you in school? SPG not good. That's good. I don't know, Wolfie. What is the difference between you in basketball and you in school? I am going to be rubbing my hands all evening. You can pass the basketball. Okay, yeah. Oops. I didn't mean to bring those with me. I enjoyed doing those. Might do some more at some point, airbrushing. Yeah, the camera doesn't half react to that. This one, the camera in both cases doesn't half react to it. They're a lot less bright than they appear on the camera. The contrast is a lot lower in real person, but when you get the daylight on them, they do what the camera's doing, which is they stand out more. Anyway, put them to one side. Indeed, it was an innocent joke. But make sure when you do it again that it's still an innocent joke. Not want any sort of sneaking things in. Oopsie daisy. Oh yes, I've got them to finish painting as well. Those vases need some painting at some point. Let's move the camera over a little bit more. There we go. So, you know what? I'm inclined to do the black in the middle. Yeah, let's do the black in the middle of this. That's a whole section here just to fill in that area. I've kind of avoided it and gone and done some of the others, but let's get the black out. Your friend made them horrible. Oops. Oh, that's clever. I've opened this packet at both ends. That wasn't a good move. Yeah. Well, there's jokes sometimes are not jokes. They're social comments, shall we say? And at that point, that's when it's not good, and I don't want to be doing that sort of thing on stream either. But innocent jokes like that, that's fine. That was it was quite a clever one actually. I do like that. So let's see if we can magically make this big black area in the middle disappear under these magic dots. Now you realise with all this talk of cheese and sweets, Wolfie, after the stream I'm going to have to go make some more popcorn. Thank you. I hope so. I am not afraid to ban people. I have done that more than once in the past. People have come in. There's a few people that have come in, have been naughty, and have kind of they've tried to upset me, and it doesn't. I just go, you're not doing that. Stop it, or you're going away. If you don't go away, I will assist you to go away by banning you, and I ban them. I don't worry about that particularly. But I do like to have a stream that anybody can watch, including, I mean, there are and will be some young children around, and I'd love them to be able to watch the stream and to pick up crafts and arts that they might want to do, and if they do them better, or do them better, or even sort of just enjoy doing them, that's a fantastic thing to have done. Now, I don't need to remember it, Wolfie. You continue to remind me by, being well behaved on the stream. Everybody gets at least one warning. Any more than that is totally at my discretion. You're only as good as your reputation, which is basically only as good as the last comment you made, to paraphrase something else. Oh, don't make spot. Yeah, I made some last night. Yeah. Oh, sorry. That's the trouble. That's the mixer is has that advantage because of the FTL streaming. Interaction becomes real time. Unfortunately, with a 20 second delay, which we've got at the moment, I guess, or about that on Twitch, it sometimes makes conversations interesting. It's worse than talking on a transatlantic satellite call, which always used to be fun in the days. Nowadays, most of them are transatlantic cables. But when they used to go via satellites, holding a conversation was sometimes interesting because of a 2 to 3 second delay. Because we hold 20 to 30 second delays. Yeah, popcorn. I'm going to make some popcorn. I was going to say I may decide not to, but I'm going to. I got taught how to make popcorn about 40 years ago now by one of my grandmas, and then back then you had to make it in a pan, and it was quite challenging not to burn popcorn. You can talk about sweets if you like. A good many years ago, I discovered a hot air popcorn maker, and I had that for I've had it for more than a couple of years, but I never really enjoyed the popcorn quite as much with it. There's something about making popcorn with butter. I guess it kind of infuses the butter into, when the popcorn pops, it soaks up some of the liquid butter, and it has a different taste to air popped popcorn. And I've since had it now, must be about 10 years. It's sort of a popcorn maker, which is sort of a small hot heated pan basically, which makes popcorn. And it takes about 5 to 10 minutes to make a batch of popcorn, and then about another half an hour to eat it hot. One thing that we once were able to get in the UK was sort of flavours that you could sprinkle on popcorn. So you could have like salt and vinegar, or smoky bacon, or cheese and onion flavoured popcorn by sprinkling this powder on. Can't find any of that anymore. Kinda would be nice to get some. Yeah, it literally is just hot air blowing through, and then it's hard to put salt on, and that was one of the reasons ultimately I didn't really like it as much, because it's the popcorn is so dry, the salt doesn't stick to it. It sort of, there's the odd bit gets into sort of the crevice of the popcorn that might be there. But most of it just falls straight through, and if you shake it a little bit, a lot of it falls off. When you do it with the butter, in a pan of some kind, the popcorn is sort of moist, because usually there's a lid over the pan to keep the popcorn from leaping out all over everywhere, and that keeps the steam in. So as the corn pops and it puffs out the wet steam, it sort of moistens the popcorn as well as soaking up the butter, but it moistens the popcorn, so when you put the salt on, it sticks. And it tastes nice then, of course. Okay, you found some. I must admit, I stopped looking a long time ago, but thank you. Thank you for that, Wolfie. I'll have a look. The Power of Teenagers. Yeah, I mean, I'm not bad at doing searches on the internet myself. You know, I might be 50 odd years old, but I was around when the internet was only available to places like universities, and it was kind of convoluted the way you had to get onto it. When the internet was Newsnet, and that was Newsnet and email, before HTTP came along, before there was such a thing as a web server. I remember those. That link failed. No, it's coming up as a 404. But I'll do the search now. Now that there are some around, as you've just illustrated, I'll take another look. I may get some for Christmas. If only to try occasionally, you know. I wonder why that link worked for you, but doesn't work for me. Yes, I was on the internet when those newfangled high-speed modems came around. You know, 300 baud. You're going to give yourself a Aston Pax, okay. I don't think I'll be giving myself a present this year. We are a little bit short on cash this year. Maybe next year. Well, next year I'm hoping to give myself a glass studio. Well, give myself a day's course and then maybe a glass studio. And sort of given the choice between, I don't know, something like a Hearthstone Pax and a glass studio, there's no competition really. And not only that, you're giving it sort of 20 days early. Okay, well no, it's about 40 days early, isn't it? Yeah. I always used, and still do, like to take off from work the week before Christmas and then Christmas to New Year. And it's kind of an ideal opportunity to do things like play games and just have fun doing things that you can spend all day playing a game, which you can't normally do. And the only disadvantage is it's before Christmas, so I can't play with any Christmas presents. I could do with Christmas being a week early, so that I could then spend a week playing with all the toys. Pre-order with first. Okay. Is that in 2? Oh no, that's in 12 days. Oh, you buying them in 2 days and then they'll release on the 1st of December. Okay. Oh, yeah, I'd be worried then, thinking it was. Is it December tomorrow? No, it's not December tomorrow. Not going that fast, I'm glad to say. Indeed, haha. I don't know what I want to get for Christmas this year. If I want, well, we are probably not going to get anything, individually for Christmas this year, to be honest, because of the way circumstances are at the moment. But I'm just trying to think what I would, if I was able to, what would I like to get? If I won't say money's no object, because that's not. It's too easy to say things like a brand new car and stuff like that. But I'm kind of thinking one of the things that I think I'd love to be able to get, but my current video car won't handle it, is an Oculus Rift. I'd love to have a play with one of those. And if I could afford it, the other one would be ZBrush or ZBrush software, and maybe an updated 3D printer. And then we'd have fun with those. Hearthstone is a horrible game. You've got a new DLC pack, it's like a joke. Okay. That's bad presents. Well, if you start opening them 25 days early. I'm not fantastic at presents. One of the difficulty things in past years when I used to work in a town, in the town, or the city actually, to be more accurate, and Christmas shopping was always easy then, because at lunchtime, rather than sort of sit at a desk and do more work, you'd sort of go out and wander around the city, and you could wander in all the shops. You're there 5 days, you've got 5 hours of shopping each week, wander around all the shops. But getting Christmas presents was relatively easy. You sort of spot things and buy them later and all sorts of stuff like that. Now that I work from home, it's really hard, because especially if I want to buy a present for Lady Zara, because not only do I not see all these things and have time to wander around and look for them, anytime I go out, it's always kind of, I get asked, where am I going? I'm going shopping. What for? Christmas presents? It's not a very good way to, can't have surprises then, because she's then looking when I come back to. Mind you, over the years I have found the best way to hide things from Lady Zara is not to hide them at all. I could do something like buy her a Christmas present, and I could stand it here, on the desk, and I guarantee she wouldn't notice it, and I could leave it there for a week or 2 weeks, wrap it up just before Christmas, and she'd never have seen it. Best place to hide things, in plain sight. Of course, sometimes you can get sneaky and buy books, for example, as a present, and I put them on the bookshelf. Nobody looks at the books on the bookshelf. They're just books on the bookshelf. And so you come up to Christmas Eve, grab it off, wrap it up, there you go. But yeah, I'm not fantastic at presents. What I do is just spend a lot of time listening. listening to things like when adverts are on, or when there's a sort of an advert on the computer screen, and I'll sort of listen to Lady Zara who goes, "Oh, that looks nice," or "Hey, that's pretty," or words, whatever words, and what is it you're looking at? Right. Oh, past 8 already. I do have a bigger house. No, but you know what I mean. It's just sort of casually listening to somebody who and what the. Yeah, you don't buy everything like that, but well, you know yourself when you're looking at when you go on websites, you get the same adverts time after time after time. So if you get the same comment, then it's sort of it's just an indication, shall we say? You've got a better idea than no idea at all. You can always tell when there's something that I think I will quite like, and that is because I usually go, I must get that at some point. Sometimes I get around to even doing it, and other times I don't. But it's usually when I see something that I'd quite like to get, is I literally go, I must get that at some point. It's like the Oculus Rift. I will get one of those at some point. Not yet. I need a new computer before I can do that, because it needs a fairly hefty video card and mine is no longer up to the job. It was state of the art once. It actually still doesn't do too bad. I could overclock it, but I don't. Given that it's handling 3 screens. At 2 at HD and 1 at better than HD, I don't think it's doing bad. You learnt piano in high school. I didn't. I learnt to play in high school. I guess what I learnt to play was brass instruments. So I started by playing a cornet, and then changed to playing an E-flat horn. And I did that must be going on for 4 years of playing brass instruments. I can't play a piano properly. I can I can read music, of course, and I can sort of play a piano as long as it's a simple melody. I can't easily read multi-chording, two-hand chording. I kind of have to practice a lot to be able to do that. But a simple melody line I can read and manage. We've got I was about to say an electronic piano. It's not. It's a keyboard, and it's tucked away at the moment. But that used to be out in the old studio. When I sat at the desk, the keyboard used to be just there to one side, and I quite often, when I'm not streaming, quite often would just turn and just play something on the keyboard, something fairly simple, just to practice fingering. I do not know proper fingering. Never been taught proper fingering, but kind of practicing it. Oh, it is, but you're almost reading two lines of music at the same time, which takes practice. And it's all just down to practice. You know, it's being able to put your hands on. It's like touch typing. I can touch type, other people can't. And the skill is that muscle memory, knowing where things are. So when I'm typing a word, I don't spell out the word as I'm typing it. I just type the word. And two-handed keyboards, same thing. I mean, you've got to start first of all by putting your hands on the keyboard in the right place, or at least knowing where the keys are. So when you reach over for sort of first octave C, you know you're going to hit it, without sort of hitting D, E, F and A at the same time, and half a dozen sharps and flats as well. Oh, okay. Yes. I'm not that good. I have and did practice enough that the reading you got to read it to start with, but the reading of the music is more just a keeping in position, keeping your timing, or knowing where you are, and I wouldn't have said I was memorising it. I was sort of at the point, not with the keyboard, but with things like the brass instruments, where you knew what was coming next because the phrasing of the music told you what the next note was. I don't know if you've done it where there's a completely new tune or piece of music you're listening to, but you know where that music's going. You know what note it's going to go for next, just because of the way that the notes are leading you in that direction. And I guess it's memorising. In some cases, it's memorising the song, but even with something that's brand new. Okay, I'm just not that good. Which is true, I could play, but I wouldn't. I wasn't sort of an expert at it by any means, or I was okay. It's something well, actually, it was a couple of years ago. Somebody was suggesting that I ought to go to one of the local, or join the local band. That's the brass band. And trouble is, it needs too much practice. And I have too much fun doing other things. I did and do enjoy making music. I always used to have great fun using the computer to play MIDI music. A long time ago, before they were common, I used to have a MIDI interface out of the computer, so I could play the things like the keyboard. I could use the computer to trigger the synthesizer in the keyboard, so I could actually play program things to play of the MIDI bus to drive the keyboard. I used to have fun doing that as well. And the interesting thing about that was a lot of time you couldn't actually get, well, back then I know you could go to a music shop and often buy sheet music, but it wasn't where I was and it wasn't cheap. But what I often would be doing would be listening to something time after time after time, and then actually matching it in using MIDI. Because then it's easy to go, just shift a note up or down a tone, half a tone, and just play that sequence again, and then just match it. And I used to do that quite a bit. But I kind of wish I could. I mean, you're listening to music now that's obviously composed by somebody, and even some of the simpler loops and things. I kind of wish I was able to do that, and I can't. I cannot create music from scratch, from imagination. I can't compose. It's I know Lady Zara often goes to me, but you can paint, you can draw. Why can you not write music? I don't know. I just can't write music. I can't write books either. And yet it is another form of creativity, another art form. I can make music. Play brass, play play-ish keyboard. Use a computer to do it, and yes, I can paint, I can draw, I can carve, but I cannot compose music or a book. I'd love to be able to write a book and sell it and make a lot of money, but I can't. I just, daft as it sounds, I don't have the imagination, which actually is sometimes a problem with art. I don't. Sometimes I can see an image that I want to draw and I just can't draw it. Other times I cannot see an image. I can draw from real life. I can go look at a landscape, draw it, and I can manipulate that landscape. I can put trees in, take trees away, basically mess it around. But I couldn't sit here in the studio and go, let's just draw a landscape now. Or a scene I can see in my head. Which is kind of unusual. It's one of the things I like about reading books is, and it's something I wish I could do, is when I read a book I can see the scene in my mind, and I'd love to be able to, in some cases, to be able to take that and paint it or draw it, whatever. But I can't do that. I can see it, but I can't put it on paper, and yet I'd be copying what I'm seeing, and it's a real weird thing, but I can't do it. But put the scene in front of me, physically in front of me, and I can do it. I was just thinking, a long time ago I used to play guitar as well. And that's nothing particularly fancy. That was in sort of, not high school, but school before that, and I haven't touched one in years. Lady Zara's got an electric guitar. She used to play guitar. She literally has an electric guitar. She hasn't touched it in years. And one of these days I'll actually have to get it out and tune it. The odd thing is she can play guitar but can't tune it. I can tune a guitar but I can't play. I can tell if it's out of tune, and I can use a tuning fork, for example. I can tune a guitar. But of course, these days you don't need to bother. You just plug it into a tuner and just read off whether it's in tune or not. I keep meaning to get one, and then we can tune the guitar up, and she can maybe play it again. Never know, I might even start trying to play it myself again as well. Mind you, I do know why Lady Zara started learning to play the guitar. And that is a certain musician that we've done a number of portraits of. He actually helped, from what I remember, he actually helped to choose the right guitar as well, a decent guitar. So if you're out there listening, John, thank you. That's the trouble with broadcasting on the internet. You never know who might be out there listening and lurking. One instrument I always fancied playing, or trying to play, was the flute. I enjoy listening to the flute. It's always such a pure sound. It was an instrument I considered learning just after I started work. It was I sort of considered it for quite some time, actually buying a flute and learning how to play it. Never did. I'm not sure whether that was a good or a bad choice, but it was a choice. It's probably because I also enjoy listening to panpipes as well, which I guess are a flute type instrument. A lot of the music that you hear played on panpipes is kind of, I don't know, it's a bit inspirational, far. Always has. I like a lot of space themes because they have this sort of feeling of out there, space, whatever, you know. A lot of the panpipe music I enjoy listening to is a similar sort of thing, you know. It's got an out there, not necessarily space, but wide open spaces, mountain tops, and it always makes me think of things like that. Does the panpipes. Used to be on Twitch a guy who made instruments. Trying to think now what it was. It was some sort of pipe, like a Native American pipe, wind instrument, and he actually used to make them on stream. Yeah, it was that was his job, if you like, making them. And I haven't seen him for a long time. That was an interesting thing to watch. That was back in, I was going to say, the early days of Creative, before Creative even, I think. Kind of miss some of those people that we saw back then. You know, there were some real craftsmen on for a while. There's a lot of people just growing these days, and I don't mean that particularly disparagingly, but you know, there's people then doing actual, doing jobs and actually sort of making things, and in a physically doing things. I'm tying myself in knots here, but I kind of distinguish, if you like, somebody making an instrument from somebody who paints a picture. They're different skills. They're completely different skills. Each is wonderful in its own right, but I kind of like watching the physical construction of things, and I kind of miss it. Those sorts of people seem to have gone from, a lot of them have gone from Twitch. There used to be people who, potters. There used to be, I think, a husband and wife on that used to throw pots on a wheel. Haven't seen them on for a long time. I mean, I've seen that Bush who makes models, sculpts models. But everybody else is, don't know. Different tastes, of course. Different people like different things, but not like it used to be. Things change. Starting to sound like an old man, back in my day, like 2 years ago. Back in my day, I can remember it being a big thing when the third television channel came along. We had ITV, and then eventually we had a fourth channel. Wow, and then colour. We had colour as well. What do we get these days? We've got ultra high definition, literally thousands of TV channels available, plus whatever you can drag in over the internet. And it's happened within 20 years, 30 years. And it's utterly amazing sometimes to look back, and I am old enough to remember when there were when the third channel joined in the UK, and TVs were black and white, and video recorders were sort of 3 foot long and 2 foot deep, and were great big thick things with great big piano keys that you had to press to get you to play, to record your tape. There were no timers or anything. You had to go and press the actual record button. And these days you use your computer to record it, or you don't even bother. You just access a video on demand from the broadcaster. Oh, nostalgia. I was just thinking then, computers. I was thinking about the first moon, the Apollo, and how the computers on there were really powerful machines for the day. And these days the Raspberry Pi probably is more powerful. But then I'm thinking, this thing is a computer. And it's more powerful than the first computer that I ever had. And it's probably more powerful than the the computer that I used to manage a long time ago. First business mainframe computer I used to manage, or support, I guess, rather than manage. And this has probably got more power than that thing that filled half a room. Although I don't think it could handle as many terminals as that computer did, but it's utterly amazing, really. Really is. And that's happened within, you know, a few, relatively speaking, a few years. I'm just thinking. I'm still thinking back. I'm thinking about the first the IBM PC when it got its first hard disk, a 10 megabyte hard disk, and that was a ginormous big disk, 10 megabytes. I mean, back then the floppy disk was actually it was a 5 1/4 in there. But 160 kilobytes on a floppy disk. And the 5 1/4 were brand new technology, because floppy disk used to be 8-inch and a disk drive would be about that big. I threw some of those away not so long ago, 8-inch floppy disks. And yeah, 10 megabytes. I can remember the mainframe computer hard disk, replaceable hard disk. You used to lift the lid and put a cover over the disk, screw the cover down onto the disk, and then unscrew the disk from the machine, and then pull the whole thing out, and it come out completely. And then Then you drop it onto a case, onto a base, and lock that in to keep the disk safe. And it would be about 2 or 3 platters, and that was a 25 megabyte disk, and that was, and at the time, that was state of the art. And it was a platter about that big, which is probably 21 inches. And I remember they were single sided, and 2 or 3 platters, 25 megabytes, and you need to have a serious power supply to spin one of these things up. And even the fixed disks, which were probably about 100 megabytes, in great big rack-mounted shelves, and you needed 2 people to lift the disk drive if you ever took it out. And I can remember being in the computer room one day, some days, when usually on a Friday, what we'd do is shut down all the machines, and occasionally we'd just have fun, and we'd time them all to shut down at the same time. And if you're in the computer room in a big machine hall, when you do that did that back then, you time them all to shut down at the same time. Part of the shutdown sequence would be to power down the drives, and they go through the drive sequentially, and it take about a second to initiate the power down before they go on. And you could hear all the drives I can't actually express the sound, but you could hear each drive turning off, So it'd get quieter and quieter and quieter, if you like, as the drives went off. But they then got to as they spin down, the spin down started to become audible. It was noise that you always heard because it was always the background noise with all the fans and everything running. But there was always a noise there which you didn't really hear. But as the drive spun down, you get a point where you actually heard them. It started to whistle slightly. And as this slowed down, and they made a sound ultimately in the whole computer room, if you timed it right, where the whole room just went ah, just like, you know, you feel really tired, you sit down and it's just a really sort of, that's the end of the week. That's a good, you know, that was just a perfect description of the end of the week, and it didn't happen very often, but that we could shut everything down. But when it did, that was a great sound. You actually got the same sound though when somebody went up to. So if you heard that in the middle of the week, it meant somebody had gone up to the emergency shutdown button and just hit the big red button. You know, the one that says "Do not push," and somebody always does. Kills the power in the complete computer hall. Everything goes. Everything spins down, and it takes 2 days to bring everything back up. But that was another one. You ever heard that in the middle of the week? You got seriously worried because it was a lot of work. If you then to bring all the discs back up, synchronise all of them, make sure that they'd all closed all the files properly, and then start to bring them back up, all the machines back up online. And usually at that point there was people screaming, why can't I do X, Y and Z? Because somebody pushed the button that said do not push. You'd be surprised how many people did that as well. Yeah, you get visitors come in and they see this button, do not push. What happens if I push this? You've just found out. Thank you for visiting. Goodbye. And that reminds me of blinking lights. I don't know who first coined that phrase, blinking lights. But yeah, flashing lights attract people. If you're ever trying to show off something off to somebody, and you can get flashing lights, people think it's the next thing's best thing since sliced bread. You can forget the high resolution display. You can forget the super high fidelity sound. You can forget high speed refresh rates. If it's got blinking lights, it's fantastic. Otherwise, it's just sort of lol kid, lol. Good evening, sir. Welcome. Nice to see you again. Because I can another story I can remember back then from, we used to have a communication switch. Back then, terminals. You didn't have PCs, you had terminals connected over asynchronous, over copper wires, no Ethernets and things like that. And we had a communication switch, four racks of communication switches, terminals connected on one side, computers connected on the other, switches and wherever you wanted them switched. Whenever we used to get visitors in, what we used to do is we put all 4 racks into test mode, and what that did is it didn't disrupt anything that was in progress at the time, but it wouldn't make new connections while that was on. But what it did do is it flashed every single light in the cabinet in a random sequence. Well, it wasn't a random sequence, but it looked like a random sequence. So you'd have, and each card would have about 32 LEDs on it in about, I think it was 2 rows. And there were some red ones and yellow ones and green ones. They all meant different things. But you put it into test mode and the whole 4 racks would flash. Lots of things flashing, waves of light going across the display, and it used to attract everybody's attention. Because it was in test mode, it wasn't doing anything. Nothing really impressive about LEDs that were just flashing. And the big massive computer that was just to the one side of it, that was sort of state of the art. Nobody was interested in that. It was just all the flashing lights. Isn't that wonderful? That must be a really important piece of kit. No. Of course, you couldn't actually say no. You had to sort of say, "Well, yes, this is our primary communications switching centre." Strictly true, but a lot worse to say it was a switch. You used to have to sort of put these big words in, because people expected things like that to have big impressive, because it had lots of flashing lights. It had to have a big impressive name. Primary Communications Processing Centre. I can't actually remember what we called it, and I've just made that up now. But otherwise, day to day, we just call it the switch, and everybody knew what it meant. But and of course, as soon as the visitors left the room, test mode off. It'd go back to normal, and all the lights would go out, and the odd one would flash on as it would do things like making a connection and things like that. Anyway, how are you doing, lol kid? Hope you've had a good day today. I was doing pyrography earlier tonight, but I finished. So, show you. So that's done. I know I left the stream last night thinking I've got to do that, I've got to do that, and then I was pointing them all out. I came to the stream tonight, looked at it and thought, you know what, I don't need to do anything to that, it's done. And I did fiddle about with it a little bit, but and changed it, the odd thing. This right hand side of the shirt now looks a lot better than it did, but yeah. And so then, finishing that quite early, it was a case of what do I do now? I do have some other projects that I need to do, but they weren't prepared to be streamable. So I'm back to the magic dots for the moment. Alright, let's do one more row. See, when I start talking, time passes really quickly for me here, especially when it's remembering some of the old stories. And that's because I'm an old man, although some of the old stories aren't that old. Right. Now then. Get the glare off it and you can get the effect. Start filling in the black. There's still a lot of this to do. Whites and some of the colours. Anything that sort of looks dull and not sparkly still has to be done. We started filling in the black. That's lovely, does that? Sparkles really nicely. When I get the plastic sheet off the front it will look even better, but that's protecting it for the moment. We're now 9:05 and I'm afraid that's about it for tonight. Unless, hopefully we'll try and prepare something different for tomorrow night's stream. I do have a bracelet to do at some point, but that's a beading project, so that's sewing with beads. I have to see if I've got the appropriate beads to do, but I've got to do the design work for that first. It's going to be about an inch thick band with black pussycats on some sort of coloured background. So I've got to do the pattern design before I can actually start beading that up. What else have I got to do? I've got a feeling I've got another there is. I mean, I'd love to do another card, so I might start another Hearthstone or card from another game, or even possibly just pick another character, a character from a game. Don't know. It's busy. Although I'm on holiday at the weekend, and I'm on holiday, I'm sort of fairly busy, sort of 9 till 5 o'clock at night at the moment. And not having a lot of time to prepare stuff for the stream, so I'll have to have a think about what to do tomorrow night. But if not, we will continue with this. This is a project that I would like to finish. It was a lot bigger than I was expecting. No, well, it's not bigger than I was expecting. It's a lot more dots than I was expecting. I really thought when I bought this that maybe 2 streams would see it finished. Yeah, right. There's been about at least 10 and it still isn't even half finished. So we may do some more of that. I kind of would like to finish it before Christmas, but I suspect that's not going to happen, but we shall see. Because I kind of like to give that to Lady Zara at Christmas. If she's seen it, it wouldn't be a surprise, but as a picture, it's a nice picture, and she loves cats, so it looks be a nice prezi. Okay. Now, so what I'm going to do is do my adverts before I hand you over to the Twitch adverts. Down here at the bottom right, I'm getting better at pointing. We've got the URLs. Of course, YouTube. There is YouTube there, but I was going to say zaragonart.com is my website. Work in progress. I am trying to add more information about the individual projects I do, whether it's with pyrography, Salute to Sunset, or about pyrography itself, or jewellery, bead making, or whatever. I'm trying to add to that. It is a work in progress. It's a slow work in progress, I'm afraid, because of everything else that's going on. I mentioned YouTube. I'm uploading the old archive. All the archive of 700 plus hours of video is being slowly uploaded onto YouTube. So if you want to see any of the old broadcasts, all the way back to not quite the first one, that's gone missing, I'm afraid. But way back, not far off when I started. If you really want to see some of those, they are there on Twitch. They're all in date order. But there are also playlists there as well. And Wolfie, I've still got about 81 videos to upload, which I may do next week. So you may find your timeline being polluted by lots of videos again. But if you follow, of course, you'll be able to see the newer ones as they come more up to date. Because of course Twitch only keeps them about 2 weeks. I do have recordings, so I will be archiving or uploading them onto YouTube, so you can see things from end to end. If you really would like to see a pyrography piece, which takes 5 to 10 streams to do, you can watch it end to end. 2 social media channels there, of course, Facebook and Twitter. Twitter's a good one. I tweet when I go live. If I can't go live, I try and tweet. New things I'm going to try, that sort of thing. Stream related stuff is tweeted, otherwise I do not tell you what I've had for breakfast, although one of these days I may just do that just for fun. And there's Etsy.com there, zaragonart.etsy.com. I mentioned the jewellery. It's available there if you'd like to buy it. And it's made to order, and I will at some point be putting odd things up. Again, it's one of these things in progress, but things like this engraving The TARDIS. Oh, well, it's a police box. Well, it's a coffee jar really, but you know what I mean. So check that out. Good for Christmas present. Not long to go to Christmas. Christmas postage and things like that. There's only about another week or so before it becomes really difficult to say anything would arrive in time for Christmas. And what else have we got there? I've got them all there. So I guess the final two things is up at the top right. I'm pointing in the right direction now. I used to point that way for some reason, which is left. And I do not know why I thought that was right, but right is right. There's the follow me button. If you'd like to be notified by Twitch and see me on that page of following stuff, then click that button. That will happen. It's magic, just like this picture. And of course the subscription button. If you consider subscribing, that would be absolutely fantastic. It helps the channel. It helps to provide the materials and things that you see on stream. Unfortunately, things like wood, good quality wood, is not as cheap as it might seem, and I have to pay for it. So if you'd like to help, subscriptions are there. That would be fantastic. With that, I'll tell you tomorrow night's stream, hopefully, should be between 7 PM and 8 PM UK time when I start. I try and start as close to 7 as I can. We'll go on to at least 9 o'clock and possibly on more past that, depending on what's going on, what I'm doing, where I am, that sort of thing. And with that, I'm going to say thank you for watching. Hope I'll see you on that stream. Bye for now.